42. How does the exchange between the professor and the narrator in paragraphs 8 to 11 contribute to the development of the excerpt? Okay, so this is a paragraph idea question, but notice these lines, contribute to the development of the excerpt. And then also notice, by the way, the answers all begin with verbs, reveals, hints, establishes, suggests. This indicates this language, contribute to the development of the, indicates that it's also really sort of a function question, just like we see in the overall structure prompt. So the answers are always verbs. So this is a paragraph idea, but really also a function idea. What is the function of these paragraphs? So let's go take a look. That immediately makes me think about not only the idea, but what's the idea transitions here. So paragraphs 8 to 11. Well, we're introduced to the narrator. He writes letters in response, usually no's because the animals aren't of sufficient quality. Then the professor brought him in one day and after work, and he presents him with a letter to which the man had replied no, and even called the guy maybe a liar, mistaken or a liar. So now we begin paragraphs 8 to 11. After a silence, he leaned back in his chair and bade me read the letter to him again. I did so with contemptuous tolerance for the writer, who must have either been a very innocent victim or a very stupid swindler. I said as much to Professor Farago, but to my surprise, he appeared to waver. So the professor does not think the man is a stupid swindler. I suppose, he said, with his nearsighted embarrassed smile, that 999 men in 1,000 would throw that letter aside. In my opinion, said I, he's one or the other. The professor responds, he isn't in mine. So what's he saying? The professor believes the letter. The narrator doesn't believe the letter. The professor does believe the letter. So these guys have completely different opinions. So the first time we see these guys disagree, basically, and that sort of back and forth on their different opinions about the letter continues through the rest of the passage, right? We see that all throughout afterward. So this is the first time we see that. I think that's kind of the idea here, that they have different opinions, and that's what transitions to for the rest of the passage. So let's go back and take a look if one of the answers matches that. It establishes the conflict between the professor and the narrator. Yeah, it is beginning the conflict, which is they disagree about the letter, concerning the validity of the letter, and that's the correct subject that they disagree on. E looks pretty good. I'm going to circle that, almost certain that is the right answer, but let's check F, G, and H. It suggests a theme of collaboration. No, there is disagreement here, not too strong a theme of collaboration. G, it reveals the character's traits by contrasting the narrator's distrust of the content of the letter with how easily the professor is deceived by what he reads. Well, we don't know the professor's deceived, right? G assumes the letter is in fact false, right? We don't really know that at this point. We don't know it at all in the passage, actually. So that's not correct. And it's revealing characters' traits. I don't know so much about the characters' traits. That's a little broad. G is not correct. H, it hints that the resolution will involve the narrator accepting the professor's opinion about the content of the letter. Well, okay, we read the passage. We know the narrator does, at the end, accept the professor's, well, he doesn't accept the professor's opinion. That's not quite right either. He starts to be hopeful that it could be true. He accepts or resigns himself to the fact that he's got to go find the great ox. That's not saying he accepts the professor's opinions about the letter. So that's actually not correct, right? And by the way, it says nothing about the resolution, in paragraphs 8 to 11, the resolution of the matter, right? We don't know how the matter will end. So H is incorrect. E is the answer for 42.